Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor, make a lot of money in property, love to help other people do the same. And I've had quite a few great questions from the previous week or so from these Q&A Sundays. So I'm gonna go through these, try and answer best I can. While I'm answering questions, if you suddenly come up with a question, comment your question below. I'll do my absolute best to try and answer it on the next Sunday's video. So let's see what we got. We got Henry Davis. He says, "Hi Samuel, I'm 17. I'm a big fan. Been watching your videos for 2 years now. Can you tell us about a deal you've done that has gone wrong? And also what you learned from it. This is because I've only heard things go smoothly with your deals, which I know is far from reality." It's not far from reality. Most of my deals do go smoothly, but you say for most investors. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. If they've been trained by me, their deals mostly go smoothly. Of course, some deals do go wrong. Okay, what deals have gone wrong? Of course, I've had things go wrong. I think more than anything, it's not about the deal going wrong, it's about the after management of the deal going wrong. So I think one of the biggest things that have gone wrong with me, even in recent years, and this isn't when I was just starting out, is when you've got a property and the tenant says that they feel that you don't need a management company. So okay, I'll give you an example, and this even when you might have seen this on the week the landlords moved in on the BBC programme. There was a tenant living in my house. This was in Durham, and the tenant was paying a reasonably cheap rent of £450. The going rent would probably be £550, and she was paying that. There was no management company, so there was no official management company. It was all it was from afar. Our guys were doing it, and the setup was that she'd paid cheap rent on the basis that any repairs and stuff like that she would fix. So she moved in and she said, look, I'll pay $450, but then if my husband's a carpenter, so if things go wrong, he'll fix it in the house. We don't need a management company. How's that sound? So whenever I've said yes to that, what happens is they're always bad tenants, and they when there's problems, they don't fix it, but they don't report it either. And then what happens is with a house, a problem with a property that's not reported leads to a bigger problem. Like in my case in Durham, it was the roof almost falling in, leaks and all kinds of crazy stuff. I didn't know about it, and it wasn't reported because they were scared to report it, because then they thought that I'd be like, oh, you need to fix it, but it's out of my hands, right? You're evicted then, So I had that happen in Durham. I had a similar thing happen in one of my houses in Wales until I finally learned my lesson, and now we have surveys go out to our tenants, and we have good management companies, even if we get bribed by tenants. But I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then also with pre-buying a house, just make sure that you always get a survey on the house, because sometimes you can think, oh, it looks fine, but there can be hidden things. But I've never really been too burned with that. But those are definitely the things that can go wrong. So I hope that helps. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Manuela, who says, "Hi Samuel, is there a mortgage limit as a first buy-to-let on a company name? I heard you saying that there's a limit of £40,000 to £50,000 or £60,000. I'm a bit confused. There's so many affordable houses, £40,000, and I watched you demonstrating on a crash course negotiating with an estate agent. How do you buy these houses as a company with a mortgage if there is a limit? Thank you very much for your work. I'm learning so much from you. You're a real eye-opener. Thank you. Okay, cool. So, all right, so if you're buying a house as an individual, the minimum that you can buy a house for and still get a mortgage on the house is £40,000. If you're buying it through a company, I think it might be a little higher. I think it might be 75, although this kind of constantly, it does change, and it also varies depending on the lender and things like that. So what I think your question is if you're wanting to buy a house for 40 grand and you're wanting to do it through a company, okay, so the advantage to buying through a company is that you can claim the mortgage payments as tax deductible. To be honest, I would probably say buying 40 grand houses is a fantastic thing to do for your first or second or even third house. But when you're scaling up, you're probably going to be looking at doing bigger deals like 70, 100, 200,000, because you don't want to own 1,000 houses that are all 40 grand. So what I would probably say is, for your first deal, and I can't give you tax advice because I'm not qualified to do that, but maybe even buy your first deal as an individual. Okay, what else we got? Sean Curran says, hey Samuel, are you going to do an update video for helping the normal guy become financially free? As I'd love to see how it went. Okay, it did happen. I did drive to Blackpool. I did go and live with a normal guy who had no money and ill health, bad credit, county court judgments against his name in Blackpool. I lived with him for a week. How did it go? Interesting. Here's what I'm going to say. I've said this before. When I hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to put it out there. That's it. So I'm really, really, really close. So if you want to see the video, just subscribe and make all your friends and all your family subscribe. And as soon as I hit 100,000, I'm going to do it. I kind of just said that because I knew the effort it would be going and living with someone for 7 days. It would be a lot of effort doing that. And I didn't want to do that just for 95,000 people. I wanted to do it for 100,000. So sorry to be a pain. That is coming out very soon. I imagine I'll probably hit 100 in the next few weeks. Okay, last question. Let's see what we've got. This is from SH2. These are highly geared portfolios. Things can go downhill very, very quickly. Yeah, there's some truth in that. Okay, so highly geared, what that means is that I have big mortgages on my properties. The reason I have big mortgages on my properties is because I'd rather borrow money from the bank, as much money as I can, than put the cash in myself. Which means that I'm leveraged or highly geared, as some people would say. The reason I'm totally unworried about that is because number one is even if the house prices drop and my mortgage, the money that I owe, is higher than the value of the house, I don't care. Because unless you're planning on selling the houses, it doesn't matter because I'm still getting the rent. In fact, if that happens, if house prices drop and there's a big recession, normally in recession, rents go up. So I'm actually going to be better off if that happens. So I'm not really worried. Secondly, as well, another reason that it can be dangerous to be highly geared is because if you've got loads of mortgages, then interest rates go up a bit, which they will. So when interest rates go up, suddenly my monthly payments go up and that could be a problem. However, you just need to make sure a couple things. Number one is that you've got a lot of cushion in the deal. So that the money that you're paying on interest to the bank, your rent is a lot higher. So there's a lot of cushion. So if interest rates are going to have to go up so much, but by the time you're out of pocket, that if they went up that high, we'd be absolutely doomed as an economy. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, but secondly, someone might say, but it might happen though. And we might be doomed. Just fix your interest rates. You can fix interest rates up to 10 years. So I think that it's a risk being highly geared if you don't know what you're doing and if you're borrowing on the wrong houses. If you're borrowing on the right houses and you know what you're doing, it's just the best way to get wealthy in property. So I'm very proud to be highly geared and I will always continue being highly geared because I'd rather if I borrow money from a bank and I'm paying them 4% and I've fixed it for 5 or 10 years, like if you can't make money, it's almost free money. I'm going to flip it round. You know, your grandkids, the person who asked this question, are going to say to you, granddad or grandma, when the banks were giving out pretty much free money, what the heck did you do with it? And you're going to be like, they're going to be, no, serious. The banks were giving out hundreds of thousands of pounds. They were fixing the interest rates at like 3 to 5%. What the heck did you do with that money? So I know what Samuel Leeds did. Samuel Leeds became financially free again and again and again and helped other people do it. What did you do with it? And what are you going to say? You're going to have no answer. So right now you're saying, oh, you're highly leveraged. That's it. So if you learned a lot, I hope you did. I know they were quite technical questions, so I hope that was helpful. Comment below. Let me know your questions. I want to see all your questions below. I'll be picking some out to answer next week. And thanks so much for being part of this. I really appreciate every person that watches, every person that comments, every person that likes and subscribes. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to be getting some great content to you guys real soon. I'll see you tomorrow.